Good afternoon. My name's Guy Metric. I'm the Industry Vice President for Financial Services at Appian. And I'm delighted to be here today with Gabrielle Campa, who is the Executive Vice President at Towerbank. For those of you who were at Appian World last year, you might have been in our session that we had then. And Gabrielle very kindly talked about all of his plans around launching an account that seamlessly integrates fiat currencies with cryptocurrencies. It was one of the best breakout sessions I think we had at Appian 24. And now we thought it would be a great idea to bring him back to Appian 25, 1 year later, to really understand what's been happening in that year, because there's been a lot of change. So I'm going to hand over to Gabrielle. I'm going to ask him just to talk a little bit about Towerbank, for those of you unfamiliar with them, and talk a little bit more about that journey up until today that he's been working on with regards to that new solution that he's been building. Gabrielle, over to you.
Guy, thank you very much. I mean, last year was an amazing experience, and a lot has changed since last year. And a lot of it is thanks to Appian. Appian has allowed us to go very fast, when traditionally we wouldn't have been able to. Last year, I announced, well, first of all, we're a 54-year-old bank, under 300 employees in the bank. And for many, many years, we were more corporate, not direct to retail. We started the owners had a technological electronics company, and they built the bank to be able to finance that operation. So we focus on corporate, but 51 years into the bank, we were doing our 10-year plan, and we noticed that the traditional banking business model was completely exhausted. And we started analyzing what we can do. We knew crypto was a thing, but we didn't know how to integrate it into the bank. So we noticed that our clients were working with crypto. They were buying crypto, they were receiving funds from crypto. And for a bank, that's high risk because we don't know where the money's going, where it's coming from. So we started talking to them, and we noticed that there was a huge business opportunity because other banks were closing the accounts. And they were not doing anything illegal. They were existing. They were doing business. They were investing. And especially in LATAM, that inflation is a huge problem. They were using stable coins to go back and forth and protect themselves from inflation. So after that, I was brought in to build a business for the bank, and we started designing it, how it was going to work. But after we designed it, how are we going to build it? And we had several options. We can buy it and integrate it, or we can build it from the ground up. So my lead developer today that has built all my back end, I meet him at an event at AWS, re:Invent in Las Vegas, and he shows me what Appian can do. And I was like, I'm not going to buy this. I'm going to build it myself. And to be honest, it was one of the best decisions I made, because today it gives me way more flexibility than anybody has. Because yes, today I'm going to bring a software as a service to be able to expand and go faster. But I have something very unique where if that solution fails for X or Y reason, I still have Appian that is connected to Appian is like my orchestrator, is my crypto core. So I have a backup. I have a real backup. If something happens, I can continue operating. So last year, I'm very honored that we got the Innovation Award. And one of the things that was said was that we had done $30 million in transaction. That was April of last year. We closed the year doing 90 million. And this year we're on track on doing over $200 million. All of this is going through Appian. All of this is being run by Appian. The entire logic is built in there. So today we're going to be talking about more smart and less banking with AI, and how we were able to do this. Something very unique of what we've done is, and why what we built is very unique, it is the first digital platform that connects traditional finance and crypto. One experience, one click between both worlds. We are the only bank with US dollars in the region that is authorized by corresponding banks to move funds related to crypto. And the only reason we've been able to do that is because we didn't go crazy and started doing crazy business. We started growing very slowly. So it's been a crazy week for us. On the 23rd of April, I officially launched Ikigi, which is our digital platform. I would say that we made history because we didn't only announce the launch of our app, we were able to do with the municipality of Panama, announce that officially Panama is a crypto-friendly city. And we're gonna be the technology behind that to allow the municipality of Panama to receive crypto. So I wanna start by showing you what I showed last year. Okay, this is what I had built for the app in April. After this, I'm gonna show you a video of what we really did, because everything has changed so much. So yes, the good news is today our dream has come to reality and we were able to launch our app on the 23rd of April, but there's not much good news after that, right? Things are changing very fast. So I'd like to show you our official launch video of our app and how Appian is allowing us to transform the financial world.
Throughout history, we have witnessed milestones that have changed everything. Our way of life, our way of relating to one another, our way of understanding and communicating. We've crossed new frontiers, expanded our world, and together we've achieved incredible things. Today, we are facing another historical event that will change everything. Today, we are transforming the future to make it more accessible, more human, and more free. We live in a world divided into two major financial universes. On one hand, there's traditional banking, reliable, solid, regulated, but often slow, rigid, and disconnected from new digital dynamics. On the other hand, there's the crypto world, agile, free, disruptive, and full of opportunities, but also fragmented, uncertain, and lacking institutional support. Today, we no longer have to choose between security and freedom. Speed or trust, the familiar or the new? Today we introduce Ikigi, a true turning point in the system. It's not just a banking app or a crypto wallet, it's a new financial standard designed for those who no longer accept limits, with a strategic, bold, and very clear vision. Ikigai merges the best of both worlds into one intelligent, secure, intuitive, and very powerful experience. One app, one account in dollars and crypto. The speed and freedom you seek, with the security that only a great bank like Towerbank with over 50 years of experience can offer. Ikigai is not the future, it's the present we've built for you. Welcome to the transformation of the financial system. Ikigi, more smart and less banking.
Something very funny about this video is that it was made in Spanish. And I had event over event, so I didn't have time to have my marketing team convert it to English. So literally Sunday morning, I used AI to transform the voice to English. Okay? And the reason I kept it how it was is because AI is advancing very fast, and I wouldn't be able to do this presentation today if AI didn't help me. But if you notice, it made some mistakes, and it's how it named the platform. Twice it named it properly. Two other times it said, it's pretty smart because at the end of the day, it said the word where Ikigi comes from, which is Ikigai, which is what you're meant to be in the world, right? That's where the word comes from. So it was able to make that mix. So at the end of the day, you still need the human factor in AI. But that's the reason why I kept it the way it is, because it sends a really clear message. I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for AI, because it really helped me. But it's still, we're getting there. We're advancing very fast, but we're getting there.
Yeah, great stuff. So, fantastic evolution from the year ago since we last spoke about this. So it's went live literally last week. Yeah. Fantastic news. What now?
Okay. Well, this is the not so good news, and especially with Appian's announcements yesterday and today of what Appian can do, which to be honest, we were talking about this before, and it's really game changer. So the not so good news is we invented something new, but guess what? It's already exhausted. AI is going to force us to go even faster and reinvent ourselves every single day. Doesn't matter what we launch, every single time we launch something, we're going to continue and have to remake it and make it better and faster, because these technologies, every day they're being more accessible. More people are going to be able to use them. More people are learning how to use them. So yes, so I'm already thinking about the 20 more solutions I need to build. And my team is like, okay, he went to another event. He's going to come with new ideas. And we're going to have to do more things. And we're never going to stop. So we were joking about it before. It's like, all right, no more vacation, no more holidays. And that's part of the issue. But something that has helped is my team and the bank. They're seeing the impact every day. Their lives are changing. Things that used to take them weeks is now taking them minutes. Now they can dedicate themselves to other things, right? And really focus. My compliance team is more robust. My risk team is more robust. My cybersecurity team is more robust, because they don't have to focus on the little things.
Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is that the AI is creating challenges because you now have to innovate at a much faster pace, because other organizations can also do that. But it's also creating the opportunities for you to innovate.
100%. Without a doubt, there's many things that I knew I had to do, but I didn't know how I was going to solve them, right? Because in the bank, we have a very unique opportunity. We have the entire vertical. We can see the fiat and the crypto world. So we can use AI to connect those two worlds and have a better view at a compliance level, but also as a user experience level.
Mm-hmm. Okay. One of the interesting things and points that you raised a year ago was that you were trying to make Towerbank more agile. We clearly believe in that. We're an agile organization. We like to deliver at pace, and we like to evolve our solutions to meet ever-changing regulations, business needs, risk needs. So I think we're very much aligned to that. But what does that mean for you in terms of an organization and a bank that's been around for 50 years and traditionally has been quite conservative in the way that it's evolved and changed in the past?
Well, at the end of the day, we can work faster. I'm going to tell something that just happened to us this year. The whole crypto core, it took us almost 8-9 months to build it. Okay, and when we tested it, yes, it worked, but it wasn't scalable. And that was an error of design. And this happened almost 3 months before we were going to go public. So imagine this, knowing that you have to rebuild it and knowing it took you 8 months, what am I going to do? What are we going to do? Are we not going to sleep for the next 4 months? Partially, we didn't sleep for the next 4 months, but we were able to salvage a lot of the connections, okay? And all we had to do was, but given that we had built it ourselves, we knew where we had to make the changes. And AI was a big factor on how we changed that logic. And honestly, I redesigned it with my team in 2 days, and AI was a part of it. We used ChatGPT to explain the problem that we were having, what we wanted to do, and it gave me different solutions. And then we brought that to Appian, where we redesigned the entire logic. And something that took us 8-9 months, we were able to do it, literally go into production the day before we launched the app. And this is something that you shouldn't do, right? As bad practice. But we were on a schedule because there was an event happening in Panama. We wanted to launch it there. But we were so confident that we had built was going to work. We were able to test it. We knew the connections were going to work because they already worked. So the logic had to change. There were some bugs, we had to fix it, but it wasn't a big deal. But thanks to the way the technology works and the visibility we have, that was made possible. With another solution, I don't know if we would have made it. I don't know if I'll be right here right now, because I'll probably be trying to solve 10,000 problems back at home.
So technology is an important part of that agile change. But there's also the impact on the bank and the staff as well. And how have you been able to take the organization with you on this journey? Because when we find that technology as a transformative capability, without the support of the people who end up using that technology, it can fall flat. So you really need to have both sides of the technology, the solution, but also the organization in support of these changes.
Definitely. One difference was we brought everybody on board day one. I was giving a lot of flexibility how I can operate. I was giving my own team, so that really helped a lot. The change came from the top. That always helps. But there's always resistance. And the way we were able to combat the resistance was showing results. When people saw what the technology can do and that life was changing day by day and that the return on investment was coming in immediately, people started getting on board. Now my problem is finding people to use Appian. No, now my problem is telling people, wait, I'm not going to give you a license yet. It costs me, it's not cheap, right? So, so now I have to filter out who's going to use it and who's not going to use it. At the end of the day, everybody's going to use it without a doubt. But it's a good problem to have. Now everybody wants to use it because they see the results, they see the impact. And people's lives are changing. People's days are more efficient. The customer experience is 100 times better. And in cases where banks operate from 8 to 5, Monday to Friday, and maybe until 1, 2 o'clock on a Saturday, we've been able to bring the bank to a 24/7 solution, where it doesn't matter at what time you need your money, you can grab that crypto, send it to the bank, it's going to be converted into dollars automatically, and you're going to have the funds available in your account, and you can do whatever you want with your money. And at the end of the day, that's part of this, is bringing back the control to the user. And these technologies are going to allow us, first, to bring back the control to the user, but also make it more accessible to the user.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned that you've seen dramatic improvements in the customer experience. A lot of what we see in terms of organizations driving change is how they measure that success, and what are the KPIs that are important to you that you need to deliver against to show that you are meeting the requirements that were set out for you at the beginning of this?
We have several ones. One that's very important, as a bank, as a regulated entity, we cannot report loss, right? Banks have to be profitable every single year. And trying to invest in technology is expensive. But one of the KPIs is the return on investment. We've invested a couple $1 million in the past couple of years, and in less than a year and a half, we've got an ROI of 60%, 75%. That's unheard of when you invest in technology, because we've been able to put the technology into practice day one and giving the service to our clients. The other one is operational efficiency. All right, our team members their time is more efficient. 3 years ago, it would take us weeks to open a bank account. The client will receive the account in an hour or two, but the manual labor behind it was 2 weeks. Then the next stage was bringing it down to a few days. And then the next MVP was bringing it down to a few hours. And now there's 0 to nil manual labor, and the client receives their account in 5 minutes. It's all fully automated, and now my business team can focus on attending the client or going out to sell or going with me to events. We just had an event. I had half of the bank at the event with me, but it didn't impact us in no way, shape, or form. That bank was able to continue operating because many of the things are fully automated. I think those are two very key points. But then the other one, and I would say, is client focus, right? Our clients are getting a way better experience. They were used to having to go through 10,000 processes to open an account and answer 10,000 questions. And we've been able to eliminate all those documents. They get their accounts immediately and they can start operating immediately. So the client experience has been game changer from the traditional space. Now we're giving them a more fintech-like experience.
Right. But with still backed by the
Exactly.
traditional banking experience that they're used to and comfortable with.
And that's something that can never change. So how do we do that? and technology is a solution to that, where the team can focus where they have to focus. For example, one thing that we've done, and this is something I did at the compliance level, is my compliance team focuses on high risk or severe risk. If it's low risk or medium risk, they don't even look at it. And then once a month or twice a month, or we'll start checking those accounts and make sure that we're getting the right data. But we can now look at what's really important, which is that high risk or that severe risk where the issue is. And that's a problem that banks have had for many, many years, because they have to be looking at so many things and so many false positives, where technology can help you reduce those false positives.
Yeah, yeah. So that brings me on to actually quite an interesting next point, because once you've gone live, clearly that's not the end of it. And there's a whole suite of other projects or initiatives that you will want to deliver as part of the journey that you're on at the moment. So how do you go about prioritizing some of those next projects so that they deliver the value in terms of the things that are important to you? And maybe you could share some of those examples as well.
Yeah, well, that's a meeting that I have next week with my CEO and the president of the bank. What's next? But a lot has to be doing with AI. Actually, I'm going to show you some use cases that I'm going to start working on. Well, some of them have already been implemented. Some of them are being improved. The first one is Sky. It's our chatbot, and it's 100% customer focused, and it's allowing our clients to serve themselves. But if they need to talk to a human, they're going to be able to talk to a human. So if they have any quick questions of how something works, they can go to Guy. The other one, and this is used for compliance and also used for business, because at the end of the day, data was all over the place. We weren't able to really understand our clients. And right now we have so much data that we can really know where to focus and what our clients are really needing. So, but now that was the MVP one. Now I want to do an RFM model on steroids. And the only way I'm going to be able to do an RFM model on steroids is with AI. I had an idea of how I was going to do it, but thanks to the announcement yesterday, now I have more ideas how I can do it. And it goes to very key where AI is in the process.
Yep.
Okay. Appian runs the entire logic, so everything goes to Appian. So all the data is there. So imagine this. We use chain analysis for crypto analytics, knowing where the crypto is going, where it's coming from. And we have the traditional monitoring systems, but we also have a database of all the bank accounts that crypto companies use. So let's look at it first at the compliance and the fraud level, AML. You use Ikigi, you receive Bitcoin, you convert it to dollars, and then you use our internal systems and you do a wire transfer to a VASP. That's suspicious activity. Why are you not going direct? Why are you trying to go through these systems? Using AI and having all the data that we have, given that Appian runs that entire logic, is like, wait a second, this shouldn't be happening. This is suspicious. Let's flag it as high risk. Let's put it on hold and notify the compliance team. Or this is a weird pattern. He's going back and forth, then he's going through a credit card. And all this, AI is gonna be able to detect it. And I'm not gonna have to grow my compliance team exponentially because it's impossible. And AI is gonna be able to detect that. But now let's use AI for the business team. All right, this client has this pattern. He's starting to do this. He's using stable coins to go to, I don't know, a meme coin. That meme coin, it's his decision what he invests on, but we have a lot of people doing that. Maybe that's a business opportunity. Or you know what, this person is traveling a lot to this country. Maybe we can offer him a solution there. He's working a lot with this company. We're gonna have so much data that AI is gonna be able to detect it and also predict things. And that's where I go to, well, you know what, let's go onto treasury and liquidity optimization.
Okay.
Given that I'm gonna be able to predict things. One of the biggest problems that I have right now is how much crypto do I keep in each wallet? How much fiat do I keep in the trading wallet? Because fiat that I have there is not fiat that's performing in treasury bonds or all that stuff. So that's money that I'm not making. So how much money do I keep there? AI will be able to analyze market patterns and client patterns So be able to predict where the money has to be when, and make sure that we have enough money where we need to have it.
Yeah.
And if I don't need to have the dollars there, I can have an overnight account and make, 3, 4% on it. So I can increase the money that we're making. The other one, and it has two focuses also, compliance and customer experience. And that is customer risk profiling, but also financial profiles. What profile do I assign you? Normally is based on how much money you make, right? But also it depends on how much crypto you have. So using AI and the major announcement now that Appian is going to be able to analyze any document and really know what's there, if it's real or not, I'm going to be able to load all that data. And let's say you make $10,000 a month. The basic financial profile that we give our clients is $5,000. And that's where we start. But if you have a document saying that you make $10,000, AI is going to assign you that profile immediately. And you're going to be happy day one. Hey, they really know me. They don't know what's behind it. They really know me and they're giving me what I need. I don't have to talk to somebody because I want to get a higher profile. And you can bring in more information, or you know what, this person is trading a lot of Bitcoin, so he's starting to increase his position. You know what? Let's give him a higher profile. He can back it up. But that also allows me to detect suspicious activity. Or you know what? Let's say that when he did the onboarding, instead of putting a legal document, he put a picture of a newspaper. That's a bad actor. I'm just going to close that account. I'm not going to open it. That's ill intent. And I think one of the biggest problems that companies have is we have different policies, there's different regulations, it's changing constantly. Is what's the rule now? What am I supposed to do? Or what policy has changed? Because given that we're transforming every day, we're making changes every single day in our policies. So if I can create a database with all our policies, all the rules, anybody in the bank will be able to go into Appian and ask, what am I supposed to do if I'm going to do this? Or what's the rule on this? And they're going to get an answer on the spot. And they're not going to have to find the legal counsel and ask them, can I do this or can I do that? And they just ask the AI and AI will tell them what they can do. Or if it is not sure, it's like go to legal counsel and ask them because this is a gray area.
Yeah. It's interesting. We're seeing so many different use cases for AI across compliance and risk management. KYC and AML, I think, is a great use case. I mean, machine learning has been used in those areas for a number of years. And I think the advent of generative AI and agentic AI is really going to enhance the capabilities of those solutions, not only to speed up the process of KYC, because the two things that really slow down any onboarding is know your customer obligations and your credit decisioning. So anything that you can do to impact the speed at which you can effectively manage those risk and compliance obligations is going to deliver better outcomes for your customers. And then you have a lot of use cases around suspicious transactions and the models that are able to detect those patterns. I think that's also just going to increase. And as you say, the compliance element, this is one of the biggest challenges I see certainly with large organizations, and you've already started to get ahead of this, is how you make the links between compliance change with your policies and procedures and your risk controls, and then start to understand what regulatory change impacts what policies and procedures and what risk controls. And it seems like you're already there with that.
Because it's a very big problem. It's a question I'm asking every day. Can I do this? Can I not do this? But last week at the event, somebody in the team was like, no, but every time I talk to this person, they say this thing. And then when I talk to this person, they say another thing. And the problem is that they didn't know that the policy had changed, or that there's a little gray area that we have some flexibility, right? We're testing out some things, but they don't know who to ask. Because I tell the client one thing, because I see the entire vertical, but someone else in the team, like they didn't know that conversation I had, and they're like, no, you can't do that. But I said yes. But what's that? If we can keep that up to date
and keep it in a central place where
everybody will know everything that's happening.
Yeah, then there'll be much better disclosure across the.
And if I have that problem and I'm a medium-sized bank, I don't want to imagine with the bigger corporations where things are changing by the second.
Yeah, absolutely. it would be remiss of me to not ask this question, considering we're towards the tail end of day 2. There's been some really big announcements around agentic AI and how process, data, and AI are very, very complementary capabilities and technologies. What has been the real sort of things that you've taken note of about some of the recent announcements over the last 2 days?
Definitely, my life is going to be way easier, without a doubt, because now I have a clearer picture of how I'm going to solve the issues that I have. Mm-hmm. I was right on thinking that technology is advancing very, very fast, but Appian has announced solutions to problems that everybody's having, right? Document identification, centralizing information, process analysis, but also at the end of the day is knowing if it's going to work, how you designed it originally. Now you're going to be able to do that analysis. And what I took from it is that one of the things that I like about Appian is it's easy for all levels. It doesn't matter what level you are in the organization. It doesn't matter if you're the CEO of the bank or you're a developer. It's easy to show it. But now anybody's going to be able to ask Appian questions and find out what they need or if what they're building works or how it's going to work or where they need to look for the information. But also, I mean, what is Appian for Towerbank? Appian, it orchestrates, it connects, it's an integrator. We've had to connect to 2 banking cores. We've had to connect to compliance softwares. We've had to connect to KYC software. We have to connect to liquidity providers and give different source of information to different people and keep adding things to it. With the announcements today, that's going to get easier and easier and easier every single day.
Yeah. So data fabric, that ability to link into these other systems without needing to migrate that data. I've always thought that was an incredibly powerful capability.
I mean, one of the things that we had to do when we launched the app is migrate a lot of data. And there was errors in that migration. With the new announcements, that's going to be way easier. And inside the code, inside Appian, we're going to be able to verify if everything has been migrated correctly, or know what's the result. It's going to be way easier. We're going to be able to develop way, way faster. And to be honest, we've been able to develop very, very fast. So imagine what we can do now with the new solutions.
Okay, yeah. So it has been a fascinating journey, Gabriel, and who knows what's going to happen in the next 12 months. I mean, the change that you've gone through, all of the launches, the challenges, the setbacks, but that ability to fail fast, move on, change and adapt, I think is incredibly important. Maybe we'll be able to get you back here next year to talk about what you've done in the preceding 12 months.
Definitely a lot of things are going to change.
But at this point, maybe we can open it up to questions from the audience. If people have anything that they would like to ask, more than happy to field some of those questions. You just wait.
There's another question over there as well.
Good.
So I know in the financial services sector, and even more so in banks specifically, regulations is a big consideration, highly regulated. How did you guys get comfortable with the move to AI and the client information that's sort of captured within?
We're going very slowly. And that's allowed us to make mistakes. And the way we're doing it, we're doing it all internally. We're not exposing anything outside. We're using it for ourselves now. And then once we feel comfortable, because for example, Kai does not have access to personal data. It only has access to frequently asked questions or how something works. But of course, we want to evolve it to where it has access to personal data. But the key here is to go very, very slowly. Learn, make mistakes, and work with the regulator. Because given that we're highly regulated, it's good and bad. The good is we know how to stay in our lane. The bad is it's hard to innovate. But if we go slowly, I mean, this is not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? There's time to do things. So the key here is to go very slowly, analyze our decisions that we're going to make. And that was our success with crypto, right? There was no regulation for it. Panama doesn't have any regulation, but it's not prohibited, so we were allowed to do it. But working with our corresponding banks, working with Chainalysis, we were able to self-regulate. And going slowly has been our success. There's a question here.
Hi, just wanted to ask, so the slide you currently have up here, so for the AI tools that you're leveraging, are you currently using Appian's AI, or are you integrating with some third-party frameworks? Let's say for the chatbot features.
All right, the chatbot is a third party, but we're still going to use Appian. At the end of the day, all these things that you see here are going to work with Appian in one shape or form. Some of the AI is going to be inside Appian. Some of the AI is going to be external. For example, Chainalysis. Chainalysis is crypto analytics. They're working on AI. We have to use, they're good at it. So why do something different? That's what they specialize on. Honestly, I can build it myself. I already demonstrated I can do it, but is that the right call? Maybe I have to focus on other things, but it's going to be a mix and match of different things. But the entire logic, all that, if I can use Appian to 100% inside the logic, inside the process, which that's where Appian is focusing in, definitely I'm going to do it in there. The technology has demonstrated that it can handle it.
Yeah, I think it's very important to realize Appian doesn't try and say we are the answer to all problems, but we are the, if you like, the orchestration platform, to your point, that allows different technologies, interesting technologies, to work seamlessly together. So if you look at KYC and AML, there's some really interesting technologies out there, such as Quantex or around entity resolution. We don't pretend to do that, but we can take the insight from those systems and help drive processes and deliver value off the back of it. Sometimes it's appropriate to use Appian's AI. Sometimes the right answer is external processes. What you need is a platform that's open enough to be able to work with both, and we think that's the case.
And that's the beauty of it. We're connected to so many things. We're connected to different banking cores. And also, Appian, and we've been able to recognize Appian cannot do everything, but it's very good at what it does. And there's some things that we have identified that it's better to have it somewhere else. And it's very easy to take it out, put it somewhere else, and reconnect to it, and it will work seamlessly without any issues. And we'll be able to do it hot. So we won't have to go offline, and we'll be able to do it live. Here, one question.
Could you go into a bit more detail what the scalability issues you ran into, and specifically how you leveraged the AI to get around or correct those?
Okay, the issue that I had was when I designed it, I can't copy and paste this, right? So I had to build it from the ground up. We didn't recognize that one of our liquidity providers had a limit on the endpoint on how many calls it can receive. We also didn't recognize how many calls we can handle between AWS and Appian. We had to discover that the hard way. And then when we discovered that then the logic was, so there's, if I'm not mistaken, there's like 35 processes that just go through managing the crypto side of the business. And the endpoint that I had could only handle 3 per second. So that was not gonna work. So then we talked to our liquidity providers, like, all right, I can give you 20, but that's still not enough. I still have 35 processes. So I went to ChatGPT, it's like, my business is this, my end goal is this. Today, this is the amount of transactions that I have. I'm planning to grow 100x. So this can grow this amount. Tell me a better way of how I can link all these connections, how I can run it to fix it. So from going, let's say request for request, we evolved to a queue system. And that was the first solution. But the queue system works if you have enough endpoints, enough requests for the amount of processes that you have. All right, so that's not enough. I need this to be more scalable. So then I recommended, let's do a dynamic queue. And then given that you have 3 processes that are key and you only have 20 slots, you're gonna assign 18 to the dynamic queue, and you're gonna assign 2 slots to these 2 priority transactions that you have. So doing that back and forth with my lead developer, and myself, we were able to find the solution. And the way we found, I was going to find the solution sooner or later. But with AI, I was able to find the solution in 2 days and then have them build it.
Any other questions
Yeah.
whilst we're here?
I know there's a lot of people from finance, so compliance is also a thing. One of the things I do in the bank, I don't only do the technology side. I have the entire vertical, so I look at the risk, I look at compliance, I look at cybersecurity, technology. I'm looking at the entire vertical, so I have a good view of how everything works and where it's going.
Looking at the Mr. Compliance use case that you're working on, I could see that being something my organization would be concerned about implementing, like it getting incorrect or misleading feedback. Like what type of safeguards do you think about for that type of feature?
The first thing is the human factor, right? One rule that we have is you cannot trust AI 100%, right? So even with the enhanced KYC and all that stuff, a human's going to have to verify. So the way we're doing is, yes, we're loading all the data, but the rule is don't take it at face value. Confirm that that's what it really is. And then once you have that confirmed, then you take action. Don't take it at face. So, and little by little, it's going to start learning. For example, what they announced with the document identification, 99% of the time it's going to be, but it's going to make mistakes. So the rule is make sure that what AI told you is what really happens, and that's it. The key is to go slowly. Right? Don't launch it into production immediately and trust it 100% because it will make mistakes. We're getting there. Every day is way more efficient, is more correct, but it's one important thing is AI is never going to replace a human. All right, the humans has to be part of the process in one place, somewhere, always. You're not going to eliminate the human from compliance. You're not going to eliminate the human from analysis. You're not going to eliminate the lawyer. It's going to make his life more easier, but you're not going to eliminate him.
I guess tactically, what that would look like is that human double checking, is that in a testing phase or is that post-launch?
Both. I would see it in the 3 levels: testing, post-launch, and launch. You have to check it constantly. It's going to learn, it's going to evolve. And for example, I use ChatGPT all the time. And I make presentations with ChatGPT. But I still check everything it tells me. And I verify it. And I put some common sense into it. It's like, is that really what I want? And I had to do the same thing when I was refactoring the whole operations of how crypto worked. I didn't take it at face value. It made sense what it was trying to explain to me, but I went back with my technical team. Does this make sense? Is this a way you would do it? And I asked it 1,000 questions until I nailed exactly what we needed. But we never eliminated the human factor. And after that, we designed it, and we still confirmed it that it was going to work the way we never took it at face value.
I think within financial services, you need that explainable position, and people give you that. So I think that connection between AI and process is the link between the AI output and people interacting with that data, and then having that auditability and being able to look at the decisions made and the actions taken. I think that's a combination that's very, very powerful to get that level of trust, to demonstrate that you're in control of those processes and you understand how those outcomes have arrived at. So it is a good question. And I think to your point, there will be that human element in it to give you that explainable position to the regulators.
One thing that's very true and it's very important is whoever leverages AI will make it. The one that doesn't leverage it, you're gone, right? Whoever uses AI is going to be way ahead of you. So you use it to where you're comfortable, but you have to start using it in some way. And little by little, I know people in the bank, they were like, no, I'll use it partially, and now they can't live without it. And now AI is their best friend, even for making contracts. But they're going little by little. We have to start using it. If not, any business model that we launch will be exhausted immediately.
we have about a few seconds left, so it's probably up to me to thank Gabriel for all of your insight on today. Thank you for the questions, and it's been a really, really interesting journey, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Thank you.
No, thank you, Guy. I mean, just the culture inside Appian is what's kept me here and why we use Appian. Something I want to make very clear is that we're a medium-sized bank, right? Appian has way bigger clients than we do. But still, you still have that human factor behind it where we can talk to anybody, and every time I need their help, they're one phone call away and they jump in and they help us very, very fast. So thank you. It's always a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you.